afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'll just leave it for another minute while people are still coming in. But welcome to our 5th Lunch and Learn. Today we have Gina, Sotelo and Cameron Bayne. But first of all, I'd like to pay my respects to the Kulin Nation as the land that we are operating on, and to elders past, present and emerging. So we're talking about Duncans Road, Werribee today, and Gina from Ecologiq will be talking to Cameron Bayne. So Cameron, if you want to unveil yourself, and we'll...
Okay.
So yeah, so I will let Cameron and Gina go ahead with their chat, and at the end, as you know, if you've been here before, we have about 10 minutes for questions. So during the session, if you just pop your questions into the chat, is probably the easiest. And Gina, I'll throw over to you and Cameron, and I'll stop sharing my screen. So
all right, Cheryl, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Well, as Cheryl said, my name is Gina Sotelo, and I'm the Senior Project Implementation Officer in Ecologiq. So today, our guest speaker is Cameron from MRPV. So Cam, can you tell us your title and involvement with the project?
Sure. So I'm a Senior Data Analyst and Modelling Specialist at MRPV. I've been working partly on WRU, Western Roads Upgrade, for a few years since its inception, mainly dealing with pavement data, etc. And my involvement in this project came about just due to my familiarity with mixed designs and DOT's mixed design registration system, etc.
Yeah. So, and what is the project, Cameron? You can tell us a little bit about the project.
Sure. It was an asphalt surfacing on Duncans Road, and it was we were actually approached by the contractor, Project Co, to see if we would be able to facilitate and support a trial of Reconophalt, which is a very new asphalt product made by Downer, which uses recycled toner from used printer cartridges and soft plastics, recycled plastic bags as a binder additive. And yeah, we were able to, we had a very short turnaround, but we were able to get the mix registered, and the product laid successfully. It's about 1 kilometre, 2 lanes. They laid, and it has performed very well. So achieved excellent ride quality, etc. So it's been a successful trial to date, and we'll be monitoring it into the future as well. I'll share my screen with the
Yes,
kids.
please, and just tell us a little bit more about the material applications as well. Yeah.
Sure. So the product that makes this mix Reconophalt as a binder additive, made from recycled soft plastics, recycled oil, and the toner from used ink cartridges. So the intention of it, is I guess twofold. So one is it's a good use of materials that would otherwise be waste, go to landfill, etc. And the other is it actually has in the lab and so far in the field also shown performance benefits. So the additive increases the performance of the binder, particularly in resistance to deformation. So it should and has been shown, at least in the lab and so far in the field, to perform better than the equivalent type H mix. which they actually laid a control section of that we'll continue to monitor and compare to the Reconophalt section.
Yeah, so this is a very innovative material. So what is the composition of the material?
So the binder additive is 40% soft plastics, 20% recycled oil, and 40% recycled toner. This mix also had 20% wrap, which is essentially recycled pavement to reuse the binder. So binders generally made from bitumen, which is obviously has a fairly large environmental impact. So the less virgin bitumen you can use, the better. And it also has 1% fly ash, which is a byproduct of power stations. So 22% of the mix was recycled content. And although the Reconophalt product is meant to be a binder additive, so in theory doesn't actually reduce the amount of bitumen required for the binder. In practice, Downer has actually been using it a little bit like a replacement as well, which means they're using less bitumen in the binder. So if that works out in terms of performance, there could be a future benefit as well, being able to replace some of the bitumen in the binder.
Yeah, sounds good. So why was this material selected, Cameron?
Well, it was actually proposed by the contractor. So for two reasons. One is that they believe it will perform better than the standard type H with this additive. And in this contract, WIU, they have pavement KPIs on rideability and other things throughout the network. So they're very much incentivized to lay the best pavement they can. And also Downer wanted evidence proof that it will work in the field on an arterial road. So it hadn't really, up until very recently, been trialled on arterial roads before. This end of Duncans Road has a little bit less traffic, a few less trucks than some of the Western networks. So it's not very high risk, but as all of the WIU network, it's fairly highly trafficked arterial roads. So it's a real test of the product, which is what Downer wanted. And from the state's point of view, it was a no-brainer to support because, obviously we want to encourage these products, the uptake of these products. So one of the main barriers to using more recycled materials is other contractors and companies can see them as a risk where they're untried versus the virgin products, for example. So,
and why did you think we should pick recycled materials over an alternative?
Well, in this case, it actually shows a performance benefit, the additive that's been created from the recycled materials. So that's a large incentive. And obviously, if you've got 500,000 plastic bags and 12,000 toner from 12,000 cartridges not becoming waste and being actually useful and creating a well-performing product, it's a no-brainer to support that, I'd suggest. Yeah,
thank you. Cam, what was the process like to get them into the ground?
The actual laying of the asphalt was a pretty standard. They laid it just as per any other, say, Type H mix. Although they definitely put their best crew on and gave it a lot of attention because it was high profile. So they did a really good job, a very smooth job of the laying. The process actually went very smoothly. We had to get it approved very quickly. So we liaised with DOT, who luckily they beat us by a few weeks. They'd just begun a trial of their own with the same material. So we were able to leverage off that and get their protocols, etc. for the trial, and also there are some additional performance requirements. So the way the Reconophalt product is registered at the moment, it is conditional, but it's conditional in a way that if they meet some additional testing and performance requirements, so 96% density, slightly higher density is required, and there's some additional binder testing, etc. They can use it now just as per any other asphalt mix, really. So that's positive. And yeah, we're able to get it registered with DOT, and the trial supported pretty smoothly.
What will be like your a suggestion for anyone else wanted to use this project, this product, sorry, and wants to actually do the process with DOT? What will be your suggestion in this case, how to engage with the DOT and have it like as quickly and smooth as you did in this case? Yeah,
well, the DOT pavement team are very responsive and helpful, and they're really interested in trials of new materials, etc. So they, if you, I'm happy to pass their contact details on, and I'm sure you'll find them very helpful. Particularly around technical aspects of trials and testing, etc., and supportive of trialing. Yeah, that'll be great. And conditionally registering mixes as well can be done.
And quickly. So, who else besides DOT was involved in the process?
Was MRPV, the Western Roads team, which so largely this was myself and Riso and Roberts, who's the sustainability manager on Western Roads upgrade, and then Downer. Obviously, they supplied the mix and laid the product, and DOT. So it's pretty much MRPV, the contractor, and DOT.
Yeah. Okay, so what were the lessons learned?
Well, I think the one lesson was that where there are a lot of these products and things being developed by contractors, like Downer, who are eager to show that they work in the arterial road network. So there's probably opportunity there to do more of this, particularly where the state, in this case, gets a likely better performing product, and the contractor gets the benefit of getting some real world evidence that their product works. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Will you continue to use this material?
Yes, it's gone very well. And Downer have now released a structural layer, an SS mix, using the Reconophalt as well. So yeah, we definitely would continue to use it. DOT are also undertaking a trial of it with recycled glass as well in the wearing course. So it's got recycled glass and Reconophalt and fly ash and wrap. So it's pretty much got just about all of the options for recycled materials. So and I think that's going well as well.
Yeah, thank you. Any last words of wisdom before we go to the QA sessions?
No words of wisdom from me.
Cool. Okay, we have the first question from Bo Christensen. Does the amount of virgin binder get reduced?
Yeah, as I mentioned, theoretically, no. So theoretically, the way the mix is registered is actually a binder additive, and meant to increase the performance of the binder, particularly to fatigue life and resistance to deformation. But I think in practice, Downer have been using it to replace a little bit of the virgin binder, but I can't speak to how that performs at this stage. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you. Maurice Ruto says, I'm all favor of the use of recycled materials, but what environmental approvals did MRPV need prior to using this product? In particular, is there any concerns with long-term leaching of the recycled plastic?
Long-term what, sorry?
Leaching of the recycled plastic?
It hasn't been shown to in any of the lab or trials to date, but I guess the reason for doing it on a, this is essentially a long-term trial. It'll be in the road for 10 years plus. I guess that's something that that'll be monitored ongoing in terms of this trial. But in theory and down advised that it can be recycled as well as per normal wrap, but some of the long-term aspects, I suppose, remain to be absolutely confirmed in the field.
Yeah, okay. We have another question from Bo Christensen. Is Reconophalt suitable for handwork scenarios, such as car park and detailed areas?
Sorry, one more time for...
Yeah. For handwork scenarios, such as car park and detailed areas?
I'd say it's more of a high performance product, meant to be used where there's, trucks, I guess, vehicles. I don't know if it would be efficient or economic to use a high performance product like that in those areas.
Yeah. All right. We have another question. Is there any risk of microplastics entering the environment or stormwater drains through using this product?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know. I don't think so. It's mixed, in with the binder of the road. I wouldn't think so, but I couldn't answer that with 100% surety, to be honest. But I don't think so. It's well mixed in there, and it's holding the road together. Yeah, that's as much as I can answer that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, thank you. From Maxwell Fitzgerald, what's the percentage of plastic to the mix in the binder?
Do you have that? Exactly.
Maxwell.
Fitzgerald.
So it's about 0.75% of the entire mix, and the binder's about 5% of the mix. So about 20 times that. So it'll be around, that would make it around 20% of the binder, approximately. Yeah, so 0.75% of the entire mix.
Thank you. Steve asked, binder includes used oil, which contains, among other materials, heavy metals and PCAH. This forms part of the bitumen's binder, but with the time, the binder wears from the surface due to trafficking and weathering. This means these undesirable materials will end up washed to the curb and down drains. Has the project considered this and not just lab-based analysis for leaching?
To be perfectly honest, we didn't, and the environmental work and I guess approval of it, it has been, but I can't answer that question myself, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
we can find out the answers from probably the environmental team and get back to Steve.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that would be more of a question.
Yeah, must be
I'm afraid.
environmental related. Yeah. From Martin Alvarez, how this mix performs on spray seals works?
How does this mix perform on a spray seal?
Yes.
Well, this is an asphalt wearing course. That's the only, I guess that's what it's been designed for, and those are the mixes that we have at the moment. I don't know. I guess is the answer, I'm afraid.
We can come back to Martin on that one as well.
Yeah, I'll do. Josh, sorry if this was already asked, but are there any risk of microplastics entering the environment? I think we just answered that one. Yeah. Okay, this another one from Maxwell. It gives the number of plastic bags, not the percentage, and you could have small plastics in large amounts, which have not made a single difference as you're trying to give a bigger number like Donner or Fulton Holgan. We are road maintenance and we've done it before them, and we use hard plastics and all types of plastics that they struggle with. We have successful trials that have 2.4 plastics included in binder mixes with no fumes or toxins and have not had environmental damage. Sorry, I thought it was a question.
It's not a question.
So thank you very much, Matt. Yeah. Steve asked, has the blender binder or plant mix been subject to lab assessment for aging, such as through RTFO or PAFV?
That goes beyond my level of knowledge, I'm afraid. I do have the detailed test results that ARB undertook. There's a whole range of tests that they did, which I can provide. Yeah, we did do a lot of additional testing on the binder as part of the trial.
Is that part of the testing or information that you have? Martin is asking, do you have any labs test available?
Yes.
To
visualize? Got all the detailed results from ARB. I can provide them to everyone.
We can share that information.
If people want to email the Ecologiq, Ecologiq at Road Projects, we can, with that question, and we can send them to whoever's interested in that.
Yeah, I've got a lot more detailed information. As I said, my involvement was largely facilitating it around the data and the mix registration, etc. So apologies, I can't answer all of your very technical questions on the binder and the environmental impact. And
environmental, yes, we can provide all those answers. And Andrew has like a last question. Will microplastics be a risk with any PMB?
Will they be a risk in terms of performance or in terms of leaching into the environment?
Not sure.
Well, it's certainly performed well to date, and yeah, in terms of the environmental long-term impacts, as we said, we will provide that detail.
Yep, perfect.
I think
that's it.
Yeah, I think Robert is just saying that you need to just confirm the conditions of registration for Reconophalt, which I imagine will be part of the due diligence on a project. I think I saw a couple of hands up. If anyone had any other questions, just pop them into the chat. Yeah, I suppose, Cameron, there would be some people who would be able to provide some technical detail on this if we wanted to run something that with more technical information. Would that be correct, or is it going to be, if we send the information out to people, that will cover most of it, or should they come back to you with some questions if
Yeah, I think it'll cover most of it, but yeah, a couple of the questions they can come back to me, and I'll get the answers for them from people who yeah have those have that knowledge.
Okay, that's great. All right, I think that's really good. I think if people have any further information that we haven't covered here today, and certainly for any of the more detailed technical questions, we'll get the information from Cameron, and we'll send that out. But I think if you can just email the Ecologiq at our inbox, sorry, and at ecologiq@roadprojects.vic.gov.au, and we'll provide whatever information we're able to, and when we get that information from Cameron. So thanks, Cameron, for your time, and thanks, Gina, for that. That was great. We may look at a series next year where we do more technical information. We're really interested in what people are wanting information on in these half-hour sessions. So that would be another good thing if you can email us with that as well, and then we can get people on the various aspects of working with these materials and all the recycled materials on your projects. So I think I'll just flip my screen if I can do it. Yep. Next week, we're talking with Les Kuliza from Yarra Trams about recycled plastic separation curbs. So there's a lot of recycled plastics being used, these separation curbs, and we've got composite plastic sleepers. So I think there's a lot of interesting factors that we can talk about around recycled plastics, and also how Yarra Trams have found these. They've had a very successful trial in the CBD. So we'll get a lot more information on that next week from Les, and Lauren Rowett from Ecologiq, who's in our industry team, will be chatting to Les. So if there are no further questions, I think we'll wrap it up there. Once again, thanks, Gina and Cameron, and we'll see you next week for the interview with Les on plastic separation curbs. So thank you for attending.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Cameron. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron.